Hello, everyone. I know we've had folks coming and going today, but it's nice to see everyone here. One of the founding principles of this organization has been to serve as a mechanism for various organizations in math and science and STEM education across the state to be able to work together and to collaborate. And so we used to have regular reports on these organizations. We kind of moved away from that. And now our new plan is every February to have updates on what's the mission of the organization, what is what are current priorities, and what are some upcoming events. So we're going to have brief presentations from this wonderful collection of agencies and organizations. And the plan is to first hear from the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce, and then from the Ohio Department of Higher Education, and then from our sibling organizations in more or less alphabetical order. And I hope I've got some of these names spelled correctly. And I'm going to stop sharing. And if you want to share, Brian and Lydia and Tom and Rachel and so on, you can do that. I think I have a slide deck for Marianne. But if you want to share slides, I'll stop sharing and you should be able to share. So let's begin with Brian, please.
Actually, Greg, Leslie's got something she's got to be at 11:50. Is she allowed to just jump in front line? Like
Absolute
I'm totally
rigid
comfortable
flexible.
letting her jump first if she wants.
That's perfect.
Leslie, you want to go first?
Sure. Thank you. I
Yeah, no
appreciate
problem.
it. Great. Good morning, everyone. Just for those of you to repeat, I'm the executive director of the Science Education Council of Ohio. So quickly going over our kind of why or our mission vision. Science Education Council of Ohio is a collaborative community that believes everyone deserves the benefit of a strong science education in order to engage with an ever-changing world. And this is actually one of the things we're currently working on, but I'll get to that in just a second. So we just finished our 2025 conference. And now we're kind of knee deep in our ambitious science teaching project. This is the second year we've gotten funding from Martha Holdings Jennings Foundation. We started this work last year with a cohort of about 50 teachers doing a book study of the ambitious science teaching book, their framework. And some of those teachers that were in that project last year wanted to continue with their learning. And then we wanted to add a new group. So we have a first year cohort that's kind of doing the learning that the first group did last year. And then we have a second year cohort that they are getting PD from the American Modeling Instruction Teachers Association on modeling instruction. And so both of these were kind of in the middle of, we met with the first year cohort last night for an online session, and then the modeling group will meet on Monday to do an in-person session. So trying to avoid teachers missing school days. So I talked a little bit about our why. So we are currently also going through a 5-year strategic plan update. So we're revisiting our vision, mission, values, and then we're setting 1, 3, and 5-year goals for our strategic priorities. So this is all still in draft. It'll go to first our board, then our membership. And the goal of this is to be completed and begin to be implemented August 1st, because that's when our fiscal year starts. Our new president will start. And so that's kind of the goal for that. So I'm sure we'll share that as we get a little closer. And then the last big thing is we're already planning our 2026 Science Symposium, and 2026 will be our 50th anniversary of SECO. So we're planning on doing a big celebration of our 50 years. So that's just a quick update. If you're not a member of SECO, I would encourage you to consider becoming a member, and secoonline.org is our website, and you can email me at thrivewithseco@gmail.org. And I'm all done. Thank you. Thanks for letting me go first. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Leslie. So, Brian, maybe you can be next now if
Sure, yeah.
ready to go.
All right. So we're going to kind of reintroduce ourselves once again. I don't think we've had a chance to meet with you all since our office was renamed. We were previously the Office of Teaching, Leading, and Learning. We are now the Office of Academic Success. As you continue to see more work from the department moving forward, you're going to see these as the 4 main priorities from the Department of Education and Workforce. In the Office of Academic Success, the main connection that we are going to really have to this as the agency's priorities is through learning acceleration. If we're talking specifically in math, it's really going to deal with wanting students to access a proactive, research and evidence-based, individualized learning experience to help give them the support that they need. In terms of math updates in specificity, we'll get the big one out of the way. Math plan, I don't have a release date for you. The last 5 times we planned for one, we missed those deadlines, so I'm hesitant to give a 6th incorrect date. This morning, we did release some information around the math pathways for next year. If anyone's interested, they can register to get support from the Ohio ESC Association through the first 2 years of implementation with the advanced quantitative reasoning, the discrete math, computer science, or the data science course. Next, we're supposed to have a Gov delivery, I think, come out sometime today, if not Monday. And yes, I know Monday's a holiday. Around a professional learning series for financial literacy. I know this is a math and science group, but the first session is really going to be focused around the mathematics connections, particularly at K-8, although, spoiler alert, there will be screenshots that will also show where the connections are at 7-8. That just show where the financial literacy standards will connect to the math. We have that coming up, so be on the lookout for that notification from the department. And then as other updates come out, just kind of, beg forgiveness on this one. We're kind of in limbo on like maybe 2 to 5 topics. If we were having this meeting 2 or 3 weeks from now, I might be able to share about every one of them. And we're just a lot of things right now are kind of in a holding pattern, waiting for approval. So with that, Lydia, what do you have for science?
Okay, if you will take that down. Brian pointed out our priorities, so those are the same for the whole entire agency, of course. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about how specifically we're dealing with that in science. Everything we're doing really is trying to encourage the doing side of science, the hands-on side, the engaging kids with the practices. So we're trying to navigate away from the lecture and read about science and more to the engaging students with things. I know all of us are pretty familiar probably with Dr. Liljadal and building thinking classrooms. And so we're really trying to encourage this discourse and this engaging with things, which we find are missing in so many classrooms still today. So we've been working with teachers in conjunction with ESCs all over the state, trying to show teachers examples through sustained professional development of how they can really engage their students in giving them something to think about. So that might be engaging them with the phenomena, that might be showing them actual things, getting them off of their electronics instead of spending the whole class period on that, using place-based learning, using the resources in the local community. Leslie talked a little bit about modeling and the work that SECO's been doing in ambitious science teaching around modeling. We are also including a lot of modeling instruction type work in our professional development with teachers. So really that's the focus of all of our work on the science team right now. Some of the priorities that we have are promoting science in the early grades, continuing with this professional learning, because this isn't the kind of teaching that teachers typically experienced themselves when they were in school or learned about in their pre-service. Of course, high quality instructional materials, like we heard from the keynote, those things, a curriculum and something that's quality to build your teaching around is really important. And then professional learning that's based in that curriculum that you're trying to implement, that's ongoing and not the, one day from the publishing company. We also are trying to work with the literacy team to really see ways that science and literacy can support each other, particularly in the early grades, because we don't see a lot of science instruction going on in the early grades. And place-based learning, as I mentioned before, is something that we're trying to do a lot with that. And then much of this is dependent on our work with partners like ESCs and professional organizations. And leaving with the thought that change really takes time. And I know schools always want a magic bullet, like let's adopt something and then next year our test scores will all be fixed. But research really says that it takes 3 to 5 years to do something that promotes effective change. So that's where we are. Thank you.
Hey, if you want to put questions in chat, that might be the best way to do that. And then, Tom, do you have some words to share with us?
I will do this, and it's just extemporaneous. As Greg knows, I just learned about this meeting this morning, so there are no slides. But from the Department of Higher Education, I think people probably are relatively aware of what we do, but in this area, we do program approval and review for all academic programs at higher education institutions in the state, and that includes the education preparation programs, which there's been discussion on, teachers and teacher preparation in our earlier presentation today. We do oversee all the state financial aid programs for students, getting into college, and particularly potentially of interest, we oversee the state articulation and transfer programs, part of which includes the general education programs that are common across the public institutions in the state. Focusing on math. And I know Lee talked earlier about, he being one of the chairs of the one of the areas of the Ohio Math Initiative. We do coordinate the Ohio Mathematics Initiative, which is a group of faculty from our higher education institutions that get together to with several purposes, but putting in briefly to certainly help students succeed in math, and reviewing curriculum, looking at new areas, trying to overcome any obstacles that are in math instruction. And we've got a number of things coming up in the Ohio Math Initiative in this actually next couple of months, one of which Lee is leading. There will be a meeting to present materials, strategies, pedagogical strategies for teaching pre-calculus, the new Ohio transfer approved pre-calculus course. Will be an in-person meeting of the chairs and others from math departments to look at the goals and reinvigorate the Ohio Math Initiative as the landscape of higher ed has changed significantly since 14 years ago when the Ohio Math Initiative was started. Two of the hugely significant changes, which won't come as surprises to anyone here, there is much more online education than there was in 2014, and that includes mathematics, and many of the entry-level mathematics courses in college are now being taught to students in high school through dual enrollment programs. And how does that impact first time learning and then progression on to subsequent mathematics courses? We are kicking off in the in the agency the development of a very detailed statistical analysis of how students are doing in their math classes, because again, part of the changes have been the implementation of multiple math pathways entry pathways in higher ed, how students are doing in those, where obstacles are, again, and how students do progressing from one pathway if they need to change to another, or the next steps in the pathway. This will be from data from our higher education information system, which we have course information and student information on all the courses in the public in the public institutions. So that'll be something we're doing in the spring. Again, trying to work with our colleagues in the Ohio Math Initiative to provide the information as, again, they look at goals and objectives for, sort of what are the next steps to move forward in higher ed math. I will leave it at that. Well, maybe one other thing. There is also a movement to create a technical-based calculus sequence to essentially, we have a large number of new companies coming into Ohio, which want people with technical associate degrees, technicians in advanced manufacturing and semiconductors, and what's the right mathematics pathways to get those associate degrees. And that's a process that we're working with the Ohio Association of Community Colleges, the Hammer Project at Ohio State University, and we'll be kicking that off relatively shortly.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Tom, especially given the very, very short notice. And I hope that you can join us at future meetings. It's really wonderful to have the perspective of the Ohio Department of Higher Ed. Okay, next will be Rachel Ayers on behalf of the Computer Science Teachers Association of Ohio. And Rachel will be presenting for them for the first time also. So welcome, Rachel.
Hi, thank you for having me. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And I'm also a member of the Ohio Council of Teachers in Mathematics, so it's good to see all of your faces here today. And so as far as the Computer Science Teachers Association of Ohio, we're looking at our updates first of all. One of our main priorities is the graduation requirement that Chris mentioned earlier under House Bill 623. I do have some notes in there in the slide. I'm sure Chris can talk more about some of the updates for that. But we are advocating for a required computer science course at all high schools in Ohio because because it's not required right now. It's seen as optional, and we're hoping to change that narrative. If you know anybody that is interested in providing testimony to support the graduation requirement, please contact Renee Coley. That's going to be up for debate soon. And also the CS Promise program went into effect last year, and that is a program that states that all high schools and schools in Ohio teaching anywhere from 7th grade to 12th grade are required to provide a computer science course to their students for high school credit. And if your school is not able to provide that because of faculty reasons or whatnot, they have a list of providers that are available to provide that at the student's request through the state of Ohio. We also are advocating the TCS program has been in effect for a couple of years now, and we would like to really connect all the grant recipients of the TCS program that came out through the Department of Higher Education to make sure that they're talking and sharing about best practices. So if you are involved in that or you know somebody that is involved in that, we would really like to get everybody talking together to make sure that best practices are helping with enrollment and making sure that the funding that has been put out for that is resulting in successful completion of many more teachers earning their CS endorsement to become certified CS teachers in the state of Ohio. Those hearings to see how well it's working and seeing if that's going to continue. It's been approved for this fiscal year, but to see how that is approved beyond that is supposed to be scheduled to begin at the end of February. Also, tomorrow we have our Tech Olympics in Cincinnati. The Inter Alliance in Cincinnati is a growing partnership with Northern Kentucky, and there's an agenda linked in there if you're interested and you're in the area. Also, our national conference, the CSTA National Conference, is actually going to be held here in Ohio this year. Last year it was in Las Vegas. This year it's in Cleveland. And if you're interested in seeing what's going on in the world of computer science, it's going to be a fantastic time. And we're hoping to provide scholarships for Ohio CS teachers if possible. And we want to maximize the number of Ohio CS teachers since it is local. We would really like their attendance at that event to create a very strong professional learning community. Also, just this week at OETC, the CSTA Ohio held a mini summit on Wednesday within the broader scheme of the Ohio EdTech Conference. We held a CS summit within that and highlighted a lot of best practices with computer science. We did have a great turnout, and we really appreciate everybody who attended and contributed. Some of you were there at my session, and I appreciate all of the partnerships that we've had with that. And if anyone has any more questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Okay. So if you have questions for Rachel, put those in chat, and questions for anyone, and maybe we can deal with questions at the end. So thank you very much, Rachel, for the very quick and comprehensive summary of what's going on with your group. Heather, can you present for the Ohio Council of Teachers of Mathematics, please?
Yes, happy to. Thanks for having me. Let me just do a couple clicks here to get in position to do that. But it's always great to be with this group, and your presentation was great yesterday, Rachel. So the Ohio Council of Teachers of Mathematics, this has actually been our mission and vision for the last, I think we wrote this in 2020. I know Kim's in the room, but it's something that we'll be reflecting and refining upon during our executive board retreat this year, but still continuing to engage, inspire, empower with mathematics, and looking at how we support educators and promoting diversity and equity within structures and our practices. And I guess our why, as Leslie shared, is we envision a world where everyone is enthused about mathematics. This sees the value and beauty of it and is empowered by the opportunities mathematics affords. And we definitely lean into the national organization as their vision statement helps guide ours as well. And so then we look at it from three lenses: from the organization, for the teaching profession, and then of course at the classroom level. So just a quick peek at our leadership. Mike Lipnos is our president, with Gabriel Metney, Jim Mamer, Jenny Walls, and Brian Boyd. I think Jenny's on the call today too, right? So we are celebrating our 75th year as an organization this year, and that will happen actually beginning, our birthday is officially in April. So then the celebration will continue through the following months and then culminate at the conference at the Dayton Convention Center on October 23rd and 24th. For them, especially for my math friends in the room, we'll probably be reaching out for just folks to share small snippets of their experience with the organization and how it's impacted your career. And so just a couple of last things, some of our member benefits. We do have over 2,100 active members across Ohio and beyond. Some of our friends have retired and continue to be part of the organization and contribute in different ways. And they're able to do that because we do offer, in addition to the annual conference, we have virtual connector events, and our virtual summer book study has been a big hit the last couple of years. But some of the things we also do then is, of course, we recognize outstanding educators. We have the Lifetime Christopherson Fawcett Achievement Award, and then we award 6 college scholarships. This year, we've actually added, we had 2, and we're hoping to have a couple more scholarships where teachers can apply to get funding to attend our conference. So that was really appreciated by the teachers that were able to take advantage of that. And then ultimately, you know, we appreciate as an organization the partnerships we have with ODE and this organization and oMSC to really collaboratively advocate for that high quality, equitable mathematics teaching and learning across the state. So there's our website, and then you can connect with us on social media platforms across Yes, everywhere. So thank you so much for letting me share. I don't know if you have any questions, but I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay. If you have questions for Heather, please put those into chat. And thank you for your presentation. The next presentation is from the um, um, Ohio Mathematics Association for two-year colleges, our state affiliate of AMATIC. And I am going to try to share my screen and advance slides on behalf of Marianne Hovis, who will be presenting. So I think I've got the slides. Some of these slides may not have come through perfectly, but this one did. So Marianne, I'm going to just present and then Marianne can pick up. So I've looked at the slide deck a little bit. And as I said, Ohio-Matic is the two-year college group for mathematics in the state, and it's an affiliate of the AMATIC, which is celebrating its 50th anniversary, the American Mathematical Association of Two-Year Colleges. The top priority, as you see, has been always to provide professional development for faculty who teach at the two-year college level in Ohio, including high school teachers that are involved in College Credit Plus. And now my slides are not advancing for whatever reason. Okay. The upcoming annual conference will be at Sinclair Community College at the Centerville campus, just south of Dayton, on the 4th of April, all day from 9 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. Another priority is to recognize the exceptional
I finally, Graham, Greg, can you hear me?
Yes,
I
carry on
think I
with the
finally
awards.
got it, yes. One of the things that we award is two awards. One is for exceptional faculty who teach, and for those who provide service to your college community. Next slide. Greg, you're doing it, I guess. Okay, these two awards are done in alternate years. The Distinguished Service Award is in odd years, and the Teaching Excellence Award is in even years. Another priority is to encourage our members to become involved with AMATIC. Over the years, many, many different people have served in many, many different positions. Two examples are both Nancy Sattler and Ricky Blair has served as president of AMATIC. Next slide. OHIMATIC collaborates with AMATIC in many, many different ways. It allows our members to attend meetings to bring back national and international information to share with OhioMatic meetings. And it goes the other way too. Ohio shares ideas at the national level through working committees and as officers and having input into position statements. And believe me, there have been many, many people. AMATIC currently has something called ANETS. This is a copy, you don't see them all, but in the middle column, the fourth one down is quantitative reasoning ANET. And I mention that because currently Greg Foley is the person in charge of that ANET. Ohio would like to very much set up a similar system, and that will be one of the high priorities discussed at the spring meeting. I think one of the most important priorities for the organization, which wasn't written down anywhere really, is to allow math faculty from across the state to get to know each other. We have many small two-year colleges throughout the country, throughout the state and the country for that matter, where they don't have a lot of faculty to talk to each other, unlike, say, Columbus State or Tri-C. So this is a great opportunity for us. How do we do this? Well, by going to meeting, eating lunch and dinner, talking with each other in the hall, and actually learning from each other. From last spring's meeting, the OhioMatic newsletter had something called Just for Fun, and this was written by Chat GPT. And this prompt was list 10 reasons why community college faculty should engage in professional development or whatever that happened to have said. And this would be true for any of our organizations. And I don't have enough time to read them all, but it was a phenomenal list that I thought occurred. One was pedagogical growth, student
Right.
success, that's student success, technology integration. And I'd like to talk about technology integration in terms of Ohio-Matic. In 1988, I convinced HP to send us 3 HP 48C calculators, and I had one. And we had a session on how to use the HP calculator, a very sophisticated calculator. It even solved linear equations. The organization went on to provide 1 million T-Cube conferences, information on programs, Derive, coming forward on photomath, and at the last conference, I was attending a different session, and I wish I could have gone this one, on Desmos, which my grandson then showed me. Phenomenal program. So all of us and the organizations have done that, but you can see through the years what we've done. Networking opportunities, again, curriculum development. Greg, you can move on. Change, research, and then cultivating inclusivity. That, inclusion, very important information. Last, career advancement is another reason, and personal fulfillment, which really I agree with 110%.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And now I can't see anything with the end of this.
I think I'm up next.
Okay, go for it. I'm going to.
I don't have slides, but so my name is Carl Costco. I'm here on behalf of the Ohio Mathematics Education Leadership Council, or OMELC for short. And OMELC's mission is we work a lot with the Ohio Council of Teachers of Mathematics and with others in mathematics education leadership roles, both in district curriculum directors, coaches, and university professors. And I'll just go ahead and apologize. I'm working from home and it's just pure craziness behind me. One of the big things that we have as our mission is to work with various stakeholders in mathematics education to advocate for specific positions and stances surrounding mathematics education in the state. So we have just a few updates, nothing significant currently. My dog's right on cue. So there's a lot of things currently in flux that we haven't, we're being aware of, but we don't have any current position statements or materials surrounding. For example, the math and science supervisor meeting, they had some input on SB 162. We're just kind of looking at that currently. There's also a math plan that's being formulated for the state that has not been finalized yet. So we're just kind of being kept in the loop with that. So a lot of things kind of in play currently. I don't know though, Brian, if you have anything you wanted to say about that. No. Okay. One of the things that we are talking about in more depth, I know many of you are aware of the P8 new licensure, and we are looking at ways of advocating for more specific endorsements or for mathematics in particular, and advocating along those lines. And although it's a bit of a stretch, trying to look at maybe providing some evidence or advocating for restructuring that model, although that's probably not going to happen. We did do a study that I'll just share that will be useful in the long term. That it was published last year, and I put that in the chat. And that's many members in OMELC, former and current, that engaged in that study where we looked at surveying pre-service teachers and their stance towards that licensure change and whether they would have gone into education and whatnot. And the main finding of that is 24% of pre-service teachers across K-12 different licensures had suggested they would not have entered the field with the P8 license. So we're going to be trying to advocate for at least some more specialization with mathematics, because right now P8 is just P8. There's nothing special about teaching mathematics, particularly in the upper elementary and middle grades. And so that's something we are currently working on. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much, Carl. I see that Tom Wakefield has joined us from Youngstown State University, the current president of the Ohio section of the Mathematical Association of America. So, Tom, if you would please share your thoughts with us. Thank you.
Thanks so much. I appreciate the time. Yes, so I'm here representing the Ohio section of the Mathematical Association of America as its current president. The purpose is really to advance the mission of the National Mathematics Association of America on a regional level. And we do that by providing professional development and networking through meetings. We meet twice a year, once in the fall and once in the spring. Our fall meeting is usually smaller and faculty only. Our spring meeting involves students, and so often there'll be student presentations as well as faculty presentations. And of course, we have a channel on MAA Connect, so it's kind of a nice place to promote discussion and action on mathematics teaching and learning in Ohio and in the larger mathematical community. Again, those goals are really just to foster growth in membership, community, and opportunities, and share best practices in teaching mathematics, especially at the collegiate level. Supporting the next generation of collegiate mathematics educators. We have a section version of Project Next, which you might be familiar with. It's a national effort by the Mathematical Association of America to support new PhDs. And we have a version of that in Ohio called Section Next that works to kind of build a network and support our newest faculty members across the state. And as I mentioned at the spring meeting, we have opportunities for undergraduate and graduate students to present their work and meet other students engaged in some mathematical enrichment and activities. So upcoming, we have a really neat tri-section meeting opportunity coming up April 4th and 5th. Our spring meeting is going to be held in conjunction with the Kentucky and Indiana sections at Northern Kentucky University, just across Cincinnati, and it's April 4th and 5th. And our fall 2025 meeting is going to be at Youngstown State on October 25th. And for more information, please reach out to me or visit our website, ohio.maa.org. Thank you.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. And next we will hear from Paul Post, who's also a member of our oMSC Executive Board, and he will be talking to us about the Ohio Technology and Engineering Educators Association.
Yeah, thank you. So we're a group of educators and business and individuals who are looking at technological literacy in Ohio, and technological literacy is very widely defined. It includes computers and robots, and also includes manufacturing, construction, transportation, power and energy, and communication kinds of things. So here's our vision. We're basically looking at how to improve technological literacy across all those areas for students in Ohio, and how we kind of go about that, what we believe is important. I'm not going to read through that, but basically, over the years, technology has expanded into lots of different areas, and we have this big expansion of AI right now into even our thinking areas. But we look at design and engineering and innovation and how that all relates in STEM. It's a very applied kind of area. So we're looking at how students can affect the world around them, and give them agency to do that they can design things that better fit their needs in the world around them instead of just taking what they can find on the shelf. There's lots of tools and materials these days that let them do that. Things like 3D printing and laser cutting and that kind of stuff. So and very tied into the rest of STEM in terms of inquiry and design is how we go about teaching this. Um, we use all the areas of STEM as we do design kinds of thinking. So we facilitate this a lot of ways. Probably the biggest for our membership these days is our news, resources, and notes newsletter, which goes out every couple weeks generally, with lots of things for teachers. Sometimes we get to showcase a school and what they're doing in their curriculum, which is always great. We have a fall conference, the Ohio Education Summit, that happens in October, and reaches across the other areas of STEM as well as just the technology part. We try and showcase student work several different ways. One is we have a student project show, and that's also going to be at the National Robotics Challenge on the Friday, April 4th, where we get projects. That's a couple of pictures up top there, across all the many areas that are in technology and engineering education. We also support a couple other things that let students show their stuff and learn. The National Robotics Challenge coming up in Marion, and also Drones in Schools, a year-long program where students design and build drones using standard kinds of equipment, learn to fly them, and race in a variety of different kinds of competitions. Our group, like many other associations, has lots of challenges. Some of the opportunities have been there's a growing recognition of engineering and design. So it's now in the science standards, which is great. We've been building more links across STEM, which is great, showing how math and science can fit in, and we fit in with them. So that's great. I think, for a while, schools were closing labs, and I think in part, administrators just didn't know how to deal with processing equipment that made dirt and boards and stuff like that, and safety issues. So cleaner makerspace technologies like 3D printing and laser cutting seems to at least be catching on in a lot of schools. Some of the challenges, and I think this is true in other associations, it's just hard to interest younger teachers in participation. Their days are filled with other things. And so keep working at figuring out that part. And in our area, there's only one teacher education program left, and that's at Ohio Northern. So how do we get programs? We have to import our teachers from other states in a lot.
Okay, thank you very much, Paul. The teacher education issue is something it's good that we have representatives
Greg,
from.
there's a question for Paul in the chat.
Okay. Do Drones in Schools program tie into the IRCs?
It depends how the program's tied. I mean, the Drones in School program itself, I'm not entirely sure. I've judged some of the manufacturing parts of that, but I haven't gotten the flying parts. So, but I know a lot of the school programs go into licensure and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I know Rachel has some interest in flying. So, all right. So next up, somewhere on my computer, I have my list, but
Kelly was up next.
And Kelly is not here, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I was wondering if Chris wanted to say something about STEM coding or not, since Chris is here.
I got a tour of the radiation oncology at Wexner Medical Center with the medical physicist. So that video will be up on our YouTube on Sunday. So check it out.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Yes, we already heard from Leslie about SECO, and Kelly has been super busy with the Teaching and Learning Collaborative. She's been for many, many years has been a very active member of this organization, but I think she's so busy that it's hard for her to keep up with this and everything else she's doing. So hopefully we'll get a representative from that organization at future meetings. So thank you very much, everyone, for giving so much information. We started off with Leslie saying that kids need something to think about, or maybe that was Lydia who said that. But you've given us plenty of things to think about. So I appreciate that, and hopefully we can make some cross connections as a result. Like it'd be really cool if higher ed, the Ohio Department of Higher Ed would encourage more technology and engineering ed programs across the state. I don't know what's the way to do that, but it seems like there's a big need if only Ohio Northern is producing teachers in that area. Okay, so I'll turn it back over to you, Nancy. Thank you.